Hi, John Dwyer. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you very much.
You see, John, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two main things. All right. And these two things are really important to me because that's part of the reason why I bring the guests on. You know, I'm always excited each time I get to learn something new from my guest. So, firstly, I love to thank them. And now, John, I wanted to thank you for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, John, I was passing by a mango tree some months back, and the mango tree didn't really catch my attention. It didn't catch my attention. Why? Because it's got no fruit on it. So I just walked past it and went my way. But you see, just recently, I was on that same road again. And this time around, I sighted the mango tree from a distance. It caught my attention pretty good from a distance. So I got the urge to, move closer to get a good look. And I moved closer. And this time around, I was wowed. It caught my attention pretty good. Why? Because now it's got a lot of amazing mangoes on it. Now it looks so beautiful and attractive. The point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, resources, and to becoming who you are today. That attracted me to you. And that was why you got the request from me to be on the show. Because the mangoes I'm seeing, no, they look so attractive that I would love to benefit from this and even my audience. That's why I sent you that request. So thank you so very much, John, for investing in yourself. And secondly, thank you for honoring the invite. Because if you had said nope, there's nothing I can do. So thank you so very much. I truly appreciate it. Okay,
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for the.
yeah, let's get started. So, John, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Number one, my interest in knowledge seeking. Because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, John, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. Now, the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing John on the show is for the sake of the listeners. You see, John, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. How to do this, how to do that, and stuffs like that. So these folks trust me for quality information. And that's why I became really excited when I came across your profile, you know, getting to see some very insightful things that you're doing and how impactful your work is. So I'm really excited to have you on the show once again, John. To get started, let's begin with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We are just so curious. We want to know how John Dwyer got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, John, over to you.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. As you can tell from my accent, I'm from down under, so I'm in Australia. I live on the Gold Coast in Australia, and that's about an hour's flight from Sydney north. Okay, so the Gold Coast is all the beaches and the theme parks, just like well, I guess it would be in Orlando in America. Not that we visit the theme parks too often, but nonetheless, that's where the Gold Coast is in Australia. I've got six children, and so we've got the Von Trapp family, and they've all grown up and left home. But we've got a large family, and my wife Gail and I have been married for 30 something years. So therefore, I think we might continue to stick with each other after that time. My, yeah, my business is called the Institute of Wow.com. And what we do is that we're a direct response marketing business. And I used to be in the corporate world. So I was looking after doing marketing for McDonald's and for the likes of Kellogg's and 7-Eleven and Rupert Murdoch's newspapers. I used to do a lot of that big corporate stuff. But about 10 years ago, I said to my wife, look, we're not getting any younger. Why don't we actually use the intellectual property that I've been giving these big businesses and make it available to smaller businesses. So that's what we do now. We tend to concentrate on smaller businesses and we provide them with direct response marketing ideas, which helps them distinguish themselves from the big 40-ton gorilla competitors. So if you were, for example, a corner store and you were up against Costco, a gigantic Kmart sort of store across the road, you're never going to beat them on price. And so what we teach these smaller businesses is how to actually use a Happy Meal toy, not literally a Happy Meal toy, but something like that to distract their customers from the price and get them across the line. And of course, the good thing about that for small businesses is that they can't compete on price. If they're up against Kmart, they're never going to win.
Amazing. Wow. You see, I love that. What you yourself and your wife are doing. That's a good work, man. And not many people are so thoughtful to that extent. You know, I'm happy to get to realize how much good work you're doing towards helping small businesses. And that's a good one. And you see, man, you've got to share some secrets and tips and how you guys are doing it. Over 30 something years and you're still together? That's amazing, man. That's amazing. I love
Yep.
that. Yourself and your wife. You see,
Yep.
folks these days aren't even lasting up to 2 years anymore. You see, it's sad, man. So sad. Okay, so let's get started with the questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
Okay, let us talk about the wow factor strategies. All right. And but let me say, what is the wow factor and how can businesses use it to stand out in today's crowded marketplace?
Yeah, look, the thing is that we are in a very, very crowded marketplace, and most business owners have a business which we call a Me Too business. In other words, they look like all of their competitors. So if I was to choose something like solar panels, pretty much every solar panel business looks the same. They put the solar panel on the roof of homes and people save on energy. And I could go through every possible industry you could think of, whether it's a physiotherapist or whether it's a butcher, baker, or candlestick maker. Most of the time, businesses are in what we call a Me Too industry. And so, what we teach them is how to stand out from their competitors by doing things differently, by creating a wow factor. And I guess my mantra, I mean, obviously I'm biased because it's my business, but my mantra is if you don't get your prospects to say wow, then why bother doing it? If you think that you're going to beat the 40-ton gorilla, the biggest business in your category on price, then you must be on drugs. There's no way you're going to beat the big guy on price. And so what we teach them to do is to do things differently and have a wow factor. And that wow factor could be buy my products or buy my service and you'll get a free dining voucher, or you might get petrol discounts, or you might get a cinema ticket, or you might get a holiday. We give people, holidays that they basically 3 to 7 night holidays, which are valued at $1,000. But because we have an arrangement with a travel company, we give them those holidays $50. So therefore they say, buy my refrigerator or use my lawn mowing services and I'll give you a free vacation that's worth $1,000. It's all about making sure you don't go down the price discount path.
Amazing. That was a smart one. And I feel like that's a very intelligent strategy. The wow factor. You see, I can also even implement something like this, right? Amazing, Jen. I love that.
Anyone can do it, but I've got to say this to you, is that 97% of the businesses market on price. They don't market on wow factors. And so, McDonald's have been, they're putting a toy in that Happy Meal for around about the last 40 years. Kellogg's have been putting a toy in the bottom of the cornflakes pack for about the same time. If you look at even at Amazon, they have a Prime membership program that if you're a member of their Prime membership, you get free shipping and free movies and free music. There's not very many people that do it. And so therefore I keep on saying to people, if you do the wow factor stuff, then you'll be out on your own. You won't find you have any competition.
Wow. That's a very attractive strategy. You know, if I get to hear that, once I become a member, I'll get free shipping and all of those things. I would want to become a member definitely. Wow. That's a nice one. I got that. Okay, let us talk about marketing campaign. Okay. So what are the key elements of a successful marketing campaign that you have seen work time and time again?
Really easy answer for that one. Problem, solution. Okay. So therefore, no matter what your product or service is, you are the solution to somebody's problem. And so therefore, if you're marketing on Facebook or any social media platform, or for that matter, newspaper, radio, television, doesn't matter what you're marketing on, provide your prospects with their problem, aggravate that problem, and then give them the solution. There's really 5 components to direct response marketing, and that is highlight the problem. Number 2, aggravate the problem. Number 3, provide the solution. Number 4, provide proof, which generally speaking is testimonials. And then number 5, a strong, what we call CTA, which is a call to action. And if you follow that, then I can't guarantee you'll double your revenue, but there's a pretty good chance you'll come close to it.
Amazing. And just recently, I was talking to someone about this particular topic and providing solution to problem, man. You just said the same thing. And you've seen this work time and time again because that's it. There are a lot of problems out there that folks are looking for way out, solutions to come out of it. Okay, I got that too. So you mentioned social media. All right. What role does social media play in your marketing strategies? And how can business effectively use, you mentioned Facebook too. How can businesses effectively use platforms like Facebook or Instagram?
First, to answer the first part of the question, what role does social media play? Around about 90%. About 90%.
All right.
Yeah, well, newspapers and free-to-air television and radio, I think their days are numbered. I mean, look at the US election. Donald Trump could have gone on one of the Tonight shows and reached 4 or 5 million people. He went on Joe Rogan's show
That's right.
and he reached 54 million. So there's no comparison. Yeah. Yeah, and look, I did a campaign to answer your second question in terms of, how you use social media.
Yeah.
I had a client which was a bank down under, and what we ended up doing to attract people to get their home loan from that bank is we told people to get a home loan, swap from all the big banks like the Wells Fargo Bank, come across to this one, and we'll give you a free vacation. And the thing went nuts, absolutely crazy. They took an extra $15 billion worth of home loans in the first few years. And this idiot who you're talking to didn't do a door deal. I did a consultancy deal. If I had done a door deal, I think I would have bought Hawaii. I wouldn't have gone there. So anyway, be that as it may, about 4 years into the promotion, we took it to another level and I got Jerry Seinfeld to do their ads. So I went backwards and forwards to New York and I got Jerry Seinfeld to be the spokesman for this bank for 3 years. And so therefore he said, get a home loan and get a free vacation. When Jerry Seinfeld came on board, it just went through the stratosphere. But what we did with social media is we said, how would you like to win a Zoom call with Jerry Seinfeld? It was Skype back in those days, but same thing. And so we used social media to really, really highlight the fact that we had a world-renowned personality involved in the campaign. And when we jumped on Facebook and Instagram and said, would you like to win a Skype call with Jerry Seinfeld? You can imagine, it just went nuts. And what I would suggest to people who are in business is to consider using Facebook as a contest entry form. So no matter what your product or service is, you give away that as a prize. People come onto Facebook or Instagram, they scroll, they see your contest. Let's just say you're a lawn mowing company and you were giving away a month's worth of lawn mowing, okay? So therefore, anyone who lives in an apartment won't be entering your contest. It's only people who've got a lawn. And so therefore, you've already got a qualified list. They click the ad and go through to a landing page, and then they give you all of their details to win a month's worth of lawn mowing. Guess what? You've just got the hottest database in town because anyone who's actually wanting to win your product or service, it doesn't matter whether it's a refrigerator or whether or not you've got physiotherapy and you're giving away 10 sessions or whatever it might be, whoever enters that contest has basically gone in the dark and said, I want your product or service. And what happens, you give one away, but then you've got 999 other people who you can contact and say, look, you didn't win, but we can offer you this special that we have at the moment. So you're attracting bees to your honeypot and they're red hot leads. And we've been doing that now. We have a web page for it, and it's if you don't mind me telling people, it's FB Contest Formula, as in Facebook, fbcontestformula.com. And basically, we help people put that together. They can do it themselves, but if they want it done for them, then we provide that service.
You see, ever since you started talking, I've been learning some amazing stuff, you see, and it's really great. I love it. Thank you, Jam. Okay, one last one. Okay. Because I find all of these your marketing ideas unique. These are unique stuff. So the question is, how do you come up with unique marketing ideas like this, and even for your clients, you know? And can you share an example of one that made a significant impact?
Yeah, sure. Look, and how I, come up with them, it's a difficult one to answer because, you've either got the X factor or perhaps you don't. I think when it comes to creativity, it's very hard to teach creativity. I think it's a little bit like a comedian. They were born funny, and so therefore, if they're lucky, they can make a living out of it. And I guess, that's what Robin Williams and Jim Carrey and Jerry Seinfeld have done. And I guess in my own instance, it's hard to say why it's part of my DNA. But, when I was at school, I was asked to, 1,000 years ago, by the way, but I was asked to come up with ideas for the school fair or for the school fete, which was the fundraising sort of carnival that they'd have once a year. And instead of just coming up with ideas to throw the coin on the table and try and win the fluffy dog, my idea was to turn the garage in school into a horror house and create a ghost house. So I think even back when I was 15 or 16, I was coming up with stupid ideas. So I think it's just part of your nature. You've either got it or you don't. And I think if you, not that I'm putting myself in this category, but if you were to ask Steven Spielberg how he is so creative, he'd probably just say it's part of his makeup. It's just part of his DNA. But in terms of giving you an example of just how quickly this direct response marketing can work for people, I had a client who owned a turf farm, and a turf farm means that he's got miles and miles worth of grass that normally people buy to put in their front yard or their backyard at home, okay? And he needed to increase his business, and he needed to shift a lot of this turf. And when I say turf, I mean Turf. I know I've got the Australian accent, so I've got to highlight that it's grass for your front lawn or for your back lawn. And he had about 2 miles worth of this grass. And he said to me, look, how do I get rid of it? And I said, well, who's your target audience? And he said, well, not mum and dads, because they will only buy the front yard or the backyard of turf. He said, my target audience are landscapers. I said, okay, well, let's look for a Happy Meal toy for landscapers. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, why don't we actually get them across the line by giving them a reward, just like a Happy Meal toy? And he said, well, that would be great because at the moment I'm selling on price. And he said, there's no difference between my grass and the competitor's grass. I mean, grass is grass, right? And he said, so therefore I get landscapers ringing me up all the time, trying to get me to reduce price. They'll say, oh, I can buy, a square meter of grass down the road for $6.50. You're charging $7. And so he said, I'd have to drop my pants to actually, beat them. And I said, well, you got to stop doing that. So what we did is that we came out with a campaign and we bought a list, a database of landscapers. So therefore we knew their email address and their postal address. So we emailed them and we posted to them an offer which said for every 500 square meters of grass, which is about a front yard or a backyard, a front yard and a backyard for a normal house, for every 500 square meters of grass, we will give you a carton of premium beer. Not just ordinary beer, but premium beer. It's called Crown Lager in Australia. And the premium beer costs us $40 or $50 for the carton of 24 beers, right? But he brings me up 6 days after we launched and said, we've got a problem. I said, what's that? He said, I've got no more grass. I said, what? He said, we've sold 2 miles worth of grass. And he said, every landscaper has come to us and said to us, listen, I don't care when the grass gets here. I need the beer.
Amazing. Wow. Man, that's a powerful word and very interesting, I tell you. Wow, wow. You see, knowledge is very, very important. And I believe knowledge is light. You see, your client encountered your insight and your knowledge now, and you stopped struggling in that aspect of life. That's amazing. What a great one, John. I love that. So to bring this to an end, John, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those ones who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you're doing, or maybe you've said some things that really resonated with them and they would love to learn more out of curiosity. How can that be possible?
Well, thank you. Thank you. And look, thanks for the invitation to be part of your show. I guess the best way that I could, motivate any business owner, no matter what age they are, is the lesson that I've learned is to hang around people who say, why not? Why not do that? Rather than people who say why. And I have to say the mistake I made in my early days when I was probably closer to your age was that I hung around a bunch of people who were operationally minded. They were what we call left-brained people. And left-brained people are normally accountants and they're operations managers, and they will always find a way not to do something. And I'm not saying that you don't need them because you've got crazy right-brained people like us who, don't even look at a spreadsheet. So therefore you definitely need both the left-brainers and the right-brainers. But I did hang around in my early days with people who kept on saying to me, oh, why? Now, why would you do that? Why would you do this? And then in my 30s, I discovered people who said, why not? And they're a little bit crazy. And, you definitely would have to bring them down from the sky every now and again. But I found that if you hang around people who say, why not? then you'll find that you will be involved in a lot more projects because they go, oh, why not? Let's do that. Let's do that. And as far as, contacting me or getting any sort of assistance from me, what we've done when we do podcasts like this is we've actually set up a web page whereby people can actually have an hour conversation with me and with about a dozen other people. We have a weekly Zoom call where about a dozen people come on board and they ask me questions and I give them the answers. And if they choose to hang around after that, that's great. If they don't, they've just got a free hour's worth of my time. And that particular website is Get More JD. My name is John Dwyer. It's getmorejd.com.
Amazing. That's a good one. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, John Dwyer. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this. Oh, man. I said it in the beginning. I said I believe our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. Yet, the prophecy came to pass. I tell you, man. Amazing. Thank you so very much, John Dwyer. That was a great one. Thank you.
My pleasure.